Hey everybody, welcome to TTCDivaDads, episode 20. Can you believe 20 episodes? This is amazing. I'm Dana Martin.
20.
I'm Mike Kilgore.
I literally wrote your names in order so that we didn't screw this up this time. I'm Adrienne Dobson. You two are fired.
And I'm Rodney Bettis. So glad that y'all are here this week.
How is everybody doing?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I am doing well. I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
You look great, Rodney. You look real sharp today.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mike, how you doing? How are your puppies?
Okay, I guess. We thought it was the old one, and now it's the young one. I mean, turmoil, but it's all right. Life goes on, and press on, huh?
Yeah.
And then I get to see you beautiful faces tonight, so it just makes things better.
I know, we had such a great time Tuesday night. Oh, wait, you weren't there.
Oh.
Just messing. I know you had other things with your pup, so.
I was barely there, so.
His contract stipulates that he only has to come to like one production meeting a month. So.
Ridiculous.
Perfect. Well, theater news. I don't know if anyone was paying attention to Snapchat today, but Tyler Lewis filmed an audition today at the theater that I don't think I entirely understood what was going on. I just knew that I had to be there and that Ben was going to teach me a little dance. It was really cool. Brandon arranged this like 10-minute medley of a bunch of songs, including a song that he and Tyler wrote. It was pretty amazing. Outside of theater company, a couple of exciting things are happening. So Six the musical is officially reopening on the West End, so that's exciting. So hopefully that goes well. And then obviously Broadway's not opening anytime soon, but they did redo the marquee at the Winter Garden Theater, which is where Cats has been, which is what they actually kicked Beetlejuice out. But the Music Man is, they put up the marquee with Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster. So that went up, which is exciting, but also almost misleading because who knows when it's actually going to happen. In other theater company news, we have filmed like 3 or 4 numbers for Rain on Me, and it's going to be really, really great. Dana, you were there this week. What was it like learning choreography after so long?
I meant to circle back and say, where's the video that was taken? Because I need to go over it again and again and again and again. It was pretty, and I was like sweating. Like I hadn't done that sort of stuff. And Adrienne, bless her heart, she knows that I'm more of a mover than a dancer, and she played to that, and it was great. I'm really looking forward to it though. I'm stoked. This is gonna be so fun.
There was one moment because they have like a little bit of a waltz step with him and Camilla and Roger, where Camilla faces one and then she turns around and faces the other, and there's no touching, but they just kind of waltz across the stage, and every time Camilla would turn to face Dana and Dana would just turn to face the other way.
It was terrible. Yeah, I'll get it down. I'll get it down.
It's good. It's good. It's learning choreography is a technique, and you guys have been out of practice. It's been a while. I get it.
100%.
Were we ever in practice?
Yeah, were we in practice? I don't know.
I mean, it's been a really long time. It's weird thinking how long it's been because like we're heading into October.
But actually, to point out the Rain on Me backdrop, there are people here that potentially had worked on this. Is this what I understand?
They did it, yeah.
I'm hearing. So Beth and Catherine are here at my house. You see, we're social distancing ish, and they're learning the kind of backside of this, the back end of this, so that they can run the show, and I can actually just be a part of the hosting piece. And I'm real excited. They're great theater tech people, and I'm excited to have them here to learn all this. So.
And Beth, I'm sure, is happy to learn more about the backside of anything. So perfect. But yes, because we have more time to prepare for this virtual concert, Beth is literally doing the lights for every single number. Beth, we used your last cues for Tyler's thing, and he looked fabulous. But one of the numbers we filmed last night, and I'm going to brag on him for just a second, Lucas Dixon. When we did The Little Mermaid, like for however many years ago, he was Flounder. And he was so cute, singing with all the mermaids. This is actually going to come full circle because Stephanie has something to do with this song as well. But he has this really great song, She's in Love, that he gets to sing with all these beautiful mermaids. Well, he's going to be in Rain on Me singing Her Voice, which is Prince Eric's song from Legally Blonde, from The Little Mermaid. And it was so good. And my heart just, oh, it was so beautiful. I'm real proud of him.
Awesome.
It's cool. All right. More teenage news?
Yeah. So I don't know if there is a teen update per se. I think probably not. But I do have a little bit of teen news that we found out tonight, and that is that one of the teens that lives in my house, Josie Bettis, was cast in 2 productions at Bryan High. I don't know what one of them is, but the other one is that Scottish play. And yeah, so she's going to be in that. She's going to be one of the witches and the murderer, I think. So yeah, murderer. I don't know that play. I didn't pay attention during the Shakespearean
We're
unit.
not in a theater, so you can actually say the word.
Oh, Macbeth is what she's in. So
I
but-
appreciate him dancing around that. That was nice.
No, it's good. You play it safe, because we've had lots of people that just throw that word around all the time, and then you got to make them go outside and turn around 3 times and spit. So
I'm a theater noob, but I know what I'm not supposed to do there. So
well, that is very exciting. Go Josie. I've heard great things. I think even Beth, her boss, talked about Josie and wanting to get her involved. So go girl.
Yep,
Go girl.
pretty cool. We're pretty
All
proud.
right. Mike, you want to tell us about what's next?
Yeah, I do, but I just want to interject something real quick. So I love the TTC Teen Update, and especially with their TikToks. Amazing. This week, we had someone rein in on TikTok, and she goes by the name of the Diva Mom, and she did some sort of new TikTok dance. Well, guess what, guys? I protected us. I had to shut it down. Had to duet that thing, and I had to shut it down.
if
We
it's what I
did have-
saw, I don't know if you were shutting anything down but yourself, my friend.
I mean, I don't know. I just
Yeah,
Anyway,
I get spammed by the MD Kilgore TikTok account. all the
you
time.
mean Diva? What a
Oh yeah, he changed
007
his
some
name.
yeah.
Diva Talk 007.
Mike,
that's
I
fine.
think you need to revisit this. I understand you have something to say about her little thing from the classroom, but did you see the other TikTok she did?
Well, I couldn't find a crown, but I was gonna do the. Oh, you talking about the one by the school? I haven't watched that one yet.
No. I'm talking about her Rain on Me dance.
Oh, yes, I was gonna duet that one, but I couldn't find a crown. It's packed away somewhere. I have a set of them somewhere. So
Maybe you just haven't earned it yet, and that's okay. That's okay, Mike.
I swear to God.
all right, guys. So we have our second week of segment When Kate Cries, and let's roll it. It's
Definitely not the second, but
Yeah.
When Kate cries.
Morning, fam. This is Kate coming from her bed. I just woke up to a text from Adrian that said, I need your When Kate Cries for the week. And since I look like death, I'm going to tell you about a time that I played a dead person on stage and I cried. It was my last show at the theater company, and I was in Addams Family. I was the dead bride. If you don't know the show Addams Family, the entire chorus is the ancestors of the Addams Family. So you have a bunch of different people from different eras of time. And so I was a 50s bride. And the Broadway bride had painted with her makeup tears down her face, like she had been stood up on her wedding or something bad went down on her wedding. And so I copied that. And then in the last show that I ever performed at TTC, first of all, I was really emotional the whole show because I was about to leave to start a new job and like move on and graduate school and blah, blah, blah. So I was really emotional already. And Randy had blocked to where I would walk down center stage with a bouquet of flowers. So I had this moment at the end of the show where I was down like practically on the catwalk. And I had to toss the flowers for Wednesday Addams to catch, who was played by Berkeley Jones, now Mills. And while I was walking down stage during this last performance, I was just dripping with tears onto the stage for the entire theater community to see. And yeah, I am grateful though that my makeup was already messy and teary because you couldn't tell in the receiving line afterwards. So anyways, hope everybody has a good day. Hope you wake up less swollen than me. Have a great show.
When Kate cries.
Okay. So Adam's family, if you are not done.
Okay. Sorry, Adam's family.
Oh, I love this so much. So speaking of people dying, Rodney's gone. Just kidding. He's back. Or he will be back in a second. Adam's Family was her last show. That was the pictures that we use for When Kate Cries are straight up from that bride. We miss you, Kate. I hope everything's okay. But before we go any further, this is perfectly timed because we're going to have to make a toast. If anyone was paying attention to the news or anything like that, we lost Ruth Bader Ginsburg like a couple of hours ago. And I don't know how anyone else feels, but it's gutting to me. This woman was an icon for, you know, women's rights, for gender discrimination. She fought for housing rights. She fought against gender discrimination. She fought for the rights for single parents, making sure that single fathers had the same, benefits as single mothers. This woman, when she went to Harvard Law School, was literally one of 9 females in a class of like 550 men. And when she was appointed to the Supreme Court, she was voted in with votes of like 96-3. Like that's unheard of. And so I'm gonna miss her a lot, and what hurts me the most and what bums me out is that I don't think she went peacefully, because half the stuff she was fighting for in the 80s and 90s is still happening. So tonight I'm specifically wearing my lip slut color that is Notorious RBG. Here, look, I'm gonna do it like Kate. So I'm wearing Notorious RBG. You can go to lipslut.com and you can get all sorts of colors that benefit all sorts of different things. Whenever you buy anything from Lipslut, you can pick your charity. So you can donate it to the ACLU, to Planned Parenthood, to Black Lives Matter, to anything. So go find amazing colors. I have this one. I have couple of that aren't polite to say. I have one that says liberal snowflake, and it's like a cool gloss. It's my favorite, and I love that the money goes somewhere great. So just in time for Rodney's cocktail, I'm gonna toast to RBG. All right, Rod, bring it on.
Is that a Coors Light?
Got this for later.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, Rodney.
I am so glad that you guys are here tonight, because we're going to class this place up a little bit. We're of course going to make a whiskey cocktail, and we're going to need some ice for it as usual, and we're going to need the gentleman back. We're going to need 2 shots of gentleman back. Very smooth. Very nice. Then we're going to need a little vermouth.
Ooh.
Come on, Tom Cruise.
So you're going to need a half an ounce of sweet vermouth. That might have been a little heavy.
He's ready for his shift at Cocktails and Dreams.
And then you need a thing of dry vermouth. Half an ounce of dry vermouth. The thing is, we've got a balance. We've got the sweet vermouth, we've got the dry vermouth, and then we've got a little bit of orange bitters.
Yes.
That. And this time, ladies and gents, we're not going to shake. We're going to stir. Now you're supposed to stir for about 30 seconds, and I know that all of you guys are washing your hands and washing them for 20 seconds. And 20 seconds is a great time to stir, and you can sing the birthday song, but I prefer something a little more classy, like "Fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars." Let me know what life is like on Jupiter and Mars. By the way, folks, did
That's
y'all hear that there might be life on Jupiter?
I have not heard that. That was a little preoccupied.
Okay, so then you get your fancy martini style glass, and you.
I want some of those. That looks good. Woo! Rod, I'm
What
super.
you have there, my friends, is the perfect gentleman.
Oh. I'm applauding. I'm snapping. I want to send a quick message because I want to know if she hears this. I was talking to Debbie Prince the other day when we were meeting about listening to the podcast version of it, trying to get some feedback. And she says, I'm not going to lie, when I'm listening in the car, I tend to skip forward past the cocktails because I don't need to hear about the cocktails while I'm driving. So I'm just going to send a quick hi to Debbie Prince because I want to know if she's listening. And yes, I texted Stephanie and asked her to rejoin the Zoom.
By the way, check out my new art.
That's
rolls.
amazing. Did you build that?
Well, no. I assembled it. I actually made a video of my unboxing. I'll share it on Instagram later.
Oh, an unboxing video? That's
Yeah.
thrilling for us.
Yeah.
During summer and quarantine, some people learn Spanish, some people learn the guitar, some people learn bartending skills, and some people just sit around and watch TikTok all day. So kudos, Rodney.
Which are you, Mike?
Oh, definitely the TikToks all day.
Okay. Speaking of, so I was pushing Beth Aiken to get on TikTok because if you're not on TikTok, that means you're not watching all the different Rain on Me promotional videos that we're doing right now, which are hilarious. Dana is in his first TikTok, everybody.
And I actually created my own TikTok instead of piggybacking off of DivaDads. I would be the DivaDad Dana is my TikTok handle. DivaDad
Adorable.
Dana.
By the way, all you people in internet land, if you want to join the TikTok, you better do it before Sunday because the U.S. is about to shut it down. They're not shutting TikTok down. Mike, step back from the ledge.
You just can't.
They're not shutting down TikTok, but they are shutting down any new people joining in. So join on the bandwagon.
But on the positive note, Oracle has stepped in to assist on cleaning up the mess that was TikTok on privacy and some other things so that they can come back and everything will be fine. So kudos to Oracle for stepping in and trying to fix the garbage that came from TikTok.
Can they do Facebook too?
Fix the garbage?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, my dad is watching and he's checking in. Speaking of garbage, he says apparently Trump wants to replace RBG with Giuliani. So, Father God,
no,
help us.
please, no.
Oh God, please.
Oh my gosh.
No politics on the show, but no, God, no.
Let's go. I mean, no. All right. Thank you for your cocktail, Rodney. You are a perfect gentleman. Dana, you want to move on?
Yeah. We've got the Roger Pine breakdown this evening of a great movie that was then a musical, which I've never seen the musical, and I'm real excited to hear what he has to say about it because I'd love to be able to watch this musical.
Heathers. The poster for Heathers has me completely confused. There's three women facing away from me. They're each holding a croquet mallet, wearing similar clothes but different colors. And Heathers plural is a weird name for a show. Are they all named Heather? So I'm gonna go with their triplets who were separated at birth, and then they're all reunited as adults, and they all find out that their families had named them Heather. And I know that is really wrong, but I mean, I cannot for the life of me come up with a good guess based on this poster. I'm completely mystified.
Shh. Did you just shush me?
I totally shushed you. So I don't think that's what Heathers is about.
Yeah, it is.
Three triplets that are from different areas of the separated. That doesn't make any sense, Roger Pine.
No, but you've seen Parent Trap, right? It's just like Heathers.
I have seen Parent. I haven't seen the new one. I've seen the old one. So
if you've seen The Parent Trap, then you've seen Heathers. Like Roger had it, he nailed it.
no, I can't believe you. No. Mm-mm.
No, isn't it like a rock theme musical or something?
That's what you get for shushing me, Dana. All right. Heathers, definitely based on the 1980s movie with Winona Ryder, with Christian Slater. Excuse you. They're wrestling. Where a lot of people die. It's really funny. The musical is great and also has Diva Dads connections because Casey Gilbert, frequent guest of Dads After Dark, and Andrew Carson, previous guest, were both in the Tuts Underground version in Houston, and it was amazing. It was so stinking good. Super inappropriate, but it is also the favorite of like several of our young teenagers. But speaking of teenagers, because that is how long I've known this person, we're going to welcome our special guest, Stephanie Dew.
Yay!
Hello, gorgeous.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing really well. I'm so excited to be here. I just think it's so awesome what you guys do. This is so cool.
Thank you.
They're very proud of themselves.
They should be. This is really
One of us is
and so
really.
should you, Adrian.
No. Well, no, what they're doing, and what they've started is really, really cool. And it's cool to see how far it has kind of spread, that people are actually watching and paying attention. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you guys are on podcasts now. And I listen to podcasts every day. So I just think that's really cool. And people are always asking about them. Like, they're so easy to listen to. I mean, I love them. I'm obsessed. So I'm excited.
All I listen to. So tell us a little bit about your history with the theater company and like what was your last show?
Okay. So I started the theater company when I was 16. Well, actually, funny story. I went to auditions at the theater company when I was like 13 for a year to be in Charlie Brown. And I was actually a really shy kid, and I had never done anything like that before, but always loved theater. Like, always knew I wanted to, my parents let me watch Saturday Night Live like a really young age. And I just loved any kind of performance, and I wanted to do it. And so I went. My mom was like, sure. She took me, and I walked in. And I don't know how you run auditions now. But back in the day, it was very much, let's get up in the front and everyone's going to watch you. And I was petrified. I like filled out my form, I think, and then I like left and I cried the whole way home. I was so nervous. I was just so nervous. And I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, who cares? But at 13, it was super intimidating, So it took me until after my sophomore year of high school, I auditioned again. With some friends from school, and we did, I got cast in Footloose. And when I got cast in Footloose, it was really cool because people like Jeff Barbet and Michelle Campbell Green were in it, and they were seniors when I was a freshman in high school. And I looked up to them and like, they're so cool and still are so cool. And so I just remember being really excited to be in a show with them. And after doing Footloose, I just felt like I found my people. I found a place. I'd like come home. I'm like, these people are just like me. They get me. We like the same things, and we don't really care what everyone else thinks. And it was awesome. And I think you stage managed Phyllis, right?
Yes, I stage managed and then ended up dancing in the ensemble when one of the girls just like got a job at the mall and said, hey, I'm going to be gone next weekend because I have training. And Randy was like, okay.
Yeah. And you had made us all these CDs. Yes. Songs from like a mashup of songs from the 80s, and I had just got my license, so I'd like drive around my mom's car and I would listen to these 80s songs, and sometimes I hear them now, and some of them I heard because of that CD, and I always think
that's so funny.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Can I have a copy of that CD?
Oh my god. You want my mixtape, Rodney?
Yeah, I need your mixtape.
I was big into the mixtapes and the mixed CDs for sure.
They're so good. My husband and I were talking about them, like, I don't know where all mine are anymore, but it was such a big deal when somebody would burn you a CD, and I don't know.
I'll bet I can find it. And the thing, I forgot that I made one for Footloose, but I do remember that I made one for Hairspray because it was like a dressing room mix. I made like a specific dressing room mix. Rodney, see,
Ronettes and stuff.
Yeah, see, we're connected, Adrian.
Yeah, we are. And that one I remember, and Katie reminded me of that one a while back. But that's so funny. I forgot about that with Footloose.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I remember that. I was thinking you were like high energy and so nice and cool. And then I forgot about you jumping in and dancing in the chorus, and you just like picked it up. I remember some still. And
So-
also, side note, I remember I was talking to Michelle a few years ago, and she was like, "Yeah, we were watching a video of Footloose recently, and you were doing the moves to the Footloose song, and you were on point, but you were a solid beat behind everybody else." Completely committed, I'm just like into it and solid behind it. Sounds about right.
Now you're connected to Dana.
All the time.
So, but I've come a long way since then.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You were in a chorus line. Hello.
Barely. But my my last show I did was the Rocky Horror Show,
I thought.
which was probably my favorite show I've ever done in my entire life.
Mike, did you have a question?
Oh no, I was just admiring, because Miss Adrian always age shames us, and I'm just enjoying the slight age shaming from Stephanie. So
100%.
Also, my dad doesn't comment on YouTube, but he wants you to know, Stephanie, that I can relate because apparently, and I don't remember this, I cried my way out of my first swim meet as a kid. So
Oh,
thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad.
Yay.
And
Well, we
people
do
have already chimed in saying hi to you from our YouTube
Harold.
stream. Harold, David Manuel, Linda Bednison. So they're all in there
Did you
watching you.
see the clip about Harold talking about your dance?
Oh my gosh, yes. The sweetest. So much fun. And I just probably watched it like 3 times, and I just smiled each time. I showed my husband, I was like, "Did you see this?"
I have that. I might be able. I'll find that clip somewhere. And
Gosh,
post
such a
it.
fun show. No, I love Harold. He's such a doll. So much fun to work with. Just the nicest and so funny. Like
Yeah.
he pulls these one-liners out, and you're just like, I love him.
I listened to his show today, and he was talking you up pretty good. So no pressure, but he
I know.
said that you were beautiful and charming and wonderful. His favorite dance experience was with you, so that's pretty cool. What was it like growing up in at the theater company? I mean, it sounds like you were there early. So what was it like?
I do feel like I should have been here sooner. Like I have a few regrets of the theater company, and one of them is, not being there sooner. It was really amazing because I just feel like it exposed me to so many different types of people. At a young age, I learned how to deal with different types of people, and made me realize that if you are around adults, that doesn't necessarily mean that they act like adults. It's like all kinds of people. But I met so many just amazing people that are still in my life, like Adrian. It was just a huge blessing, and I learned everything from there. I did a lot of high school theater, straight plays, but I found my home at the theater company. I was a big musical girl, and at the time they weren't doing musicals, and so I wanted it and found a theater company, and it was just a blast, such a wonderful community. My husband and I joke, I'm like, I've got to get back to College Station because I don't know if I'll ever do community theater again if it's not the theater company. It's just something really special there. And it was, I feel really fortunate growing up there. Actually, recently, I think Alan has been posting some old pictures, maybe for the benefit. And he posted one from a show, and I don't know what show it was, but I wasn't in it. And it was around the time that I joined, and it was like the old theaters and the old seats.
Yeah.
And I was laying on the couch looking at him, and I just started crying.
Oh.
I was just it came out of nowhere. It took me by surprise. And my husband and I went on a walk afterwards with their daughter, and was trying to explain it to him. And I was like, I just missed something that's not there anymore. Just a time in my life. Not that special thing isn't still at the theater company, but just a certain time. It was just I just have nothing but good things to say, and it hit me like a home that you can't ever go back to. So.
Oh, but you can.
Yeah, you can come back anytime. Yeah, I that has been kind of a common theme with our guests is that, yes, other communities have community theater, but there's not a community theater like this one. And so, it's a good advertisement for the city to stay in the city, and just to enjoy what you got. Don't be trying to leave it.
Absolutely.
I'm talking to people who are watching, so don't mind me.
He's
Yeah.
trying to leave.
So
Or if you leave, make sure you have a way to come back. You know, I know what you're
Yeah.
saying, Rodney.
Yeah. Sure.
Stephanie, I now live in your city as well, so I'm in Houston. So
Oh.
yeah, he left us.
He did.
So how is it different performing in a college environment as opposed to a community theater?
That's a great question. You know, I definitely feel like the community environment is much more supportive in a sense of your peers. After I left TTC and I went back to Sam, after my first show, unannounced, so many people showed up to come support me. And I'll never forget that, coming down to the green room and being so surprised. And, Adrian was there and several other people, and it just meant so much to me. So just the support and the sense of family and everyone working, acting in one show and then working behind the scenes in the next, just because you want to be there, and going to support friends and see shows. And so that was different. And in the college setting, it was a little more, this is my job, this is my, we're doing this for a living kind of thing. So it was a little less like that, a little more, a little less friendly. I experience too, but it just wasn't, I don't have the same kind of connections in that sense that I did in community theater. So, yeah.
So I remember coming to see, one of the ones I remember coming to see you in it was a musical review, but what was the
Jerome Kern.
Oh, that's right. That was beautiful.
I loved that. It was probably one of my favorite things. That's something I was really proud of as a dancer.
Yeah. And just the style was right up your alley. Like, you were really well suited for that.
Yeah, I loved that. I was thinking about that show today. It was a musical review. One of the professors in the department wrote sort of some dialogue between the songs and created this. So it was really fun. And Jonathan Charles choreographed it, and he's just kind of a legend at Sam Houston. And it was, he's really special to me. I've always been insecure about my dancing, and it had gotten better over the years, but I remember working with him on that. He would just treat me like a dancer, much like you, Adrian, just kind of like, you can do it, you're fine. And just made me feel so proud and good. So yeah, that was it. I love that style as well. So it was a very fun show.
All right, Mike.
Well, David Manuel, he has a question for you, and he says, what shows would you love to someday be able to perform in with your daughter?
Oh, I never thought of this. My husband and I talk a lot about, like, would Emma, will she want to do theater one day? And I hope she does. If not, I just hope that she loves it and is a patron of the arts. But I also joke that I'm perfectly suited to be the biggest stage mom / Jenner.
Uh-oh.
I joke, I'm like, honey, I can do all this for you. I know how to do your headshot. Don't worry, we'll get you audition for this. But
I've been watching a lot of Dance Moms, so that's very scary to me right now.
Oh, no, not that level. No. But if we ever did a show together, first of all, that would just be I can't even let my mind go there. That would be so sweet to me. But probably Annie. Oh. That is a show I've never done, but I would love to play Miss Hannigan.
Yeah.
And she'd be a sweet little girl in it.
I feel like with all the pictures that I see of her, she is one of the most expressive faces. I've never met her, but she has so much personality. I feel like she's destined for it.
The ham bone. Oh yeah. I've all the times that I was a bad kid growing up, I'm I'm getting it. I'm getting what's coming.
Your mom is told ya.
She's a stinker. I love her. She's the best. But yes, she gives me a run.
Have you exposed her to any musicals? Has she seen anything anything live, or has she just been too young?
Yeah. So, I think the first thing she ever saw was Sutton Foster on Sesame Street. She was really little, and she was really engaged. And of course, I was in the background just crying. And then I showed her Shrek the Musical recently.
I just watched that with Ryder.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's so good. Such a wonderful show. And so she was into that. And so I kind of showed her things. I've been trying to get my husband to watch Hamilton.
Ooh.
it's something that I just kind of like, you know, when it was around, I think I showed like the trailer to my students and stuff when it was being, you know, produced, but I never seen it. And I really wasn't like that stressed about trying to see it. But when it came out, of course, you know, I was just completely intoxicated with it. So I've been trying to get my husband to watch it. And he's like, well, you just like put it on the daytime. We're all hanging out. And I was like, that's right. Emma can watch it. So a lot of like old musicals and stuff, but I'm getting her into it and she loves it so far. So
Ryder he wasn't as excited about Shrek as he was about Newsies. And Rod, I know y'all watched that recently,
Yeah.
but with Newsies, he was enthralled because it's so like it's just a bunch of dudes dancing.
boyish. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's boyish. And so he's seeing, cause he goes to gymnastics and he's seeing them flipping around and doing all this stuff. And he's like, oh, well, this looks good. But has been very lucky because he's been able to go to the theater since he was like less than a year old. So today he ended up having to come with me for one of our theater company guys had to film an audition at the theater, and Ryder was with me. And while I was on stage, he literally just followed me around the whole time, like, all right, this is cool. And then when it was time for Tyler to sing, I said, okay, you have to sit down and be quiet. And he says, okay, he's two. And he sat down and kept his mouth shut and just smiled, like was entranced because there was a drummer, there was like live musicians, and Ryder was just like, this is amazing, smiling at me the whole time I was dancing. And then in the end, he was like, like he knows good theater etiquette now.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And we've watched Newsies as well. That is something, when I was teaching, I would pull out of my back pocket with like musicals. All the boys would be like, I don't like musicals. I was like, oh, have you seen Newsies?
Yeah.
You're gonna like it.
Or have you heard about Matthew Morrison? This is how you get girls.
Yeah.
True.
Fair.
It's true.
So, Stephanie, one thing, this is one of my favorite questions to ask people is, what person that you shared the stage with, like maybe only once or twice, made a major impact on you, and why?
Oh, that's a great question. I have never thought about that. Let me think.
Rod's good at this.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That is a heavy question in a good way. I mean, there are obviously certainly so many people, but
well, let me ask you kind of a different question that may be a little bit easier to answer. Tell me a little bit about your experience with being in an ensemble, and then like, you know, tell me like you're being in an ensemble and then your favorite show that you were in, you know, whether you were in the ensemble or somebody else, if you weren't, you know, tell me about your experience with ensembles.
Okay. So that's why when you said that, I was thinking like probably some of my earlier shows when I was in the ensemble. When I got to the theater company, I remember my aunt was Karen Kraft, who was friends with Randy, and her telling him that I was in a show, and he was like, oh, well, you know, tell her that she needs to just watch other people, watch others, and then I'll help her learn. And so it was in Footloose, and I would sit back and watch. Honestly, probably Jeff Barbet. I remember him doing the Almost Paradise duet and just standing backstage and just being, you know, enamored with his talent. And he's just so effortless. And probably Jeff and Michelle, because I really did look up to them when I was younger, and I still think they're just so cool. And but being in the ensemble, it's so much fun. And Randy always was so kind to me and let me have so much creative freedom with that. I remember like in Sweet Charity, what's the song that we did, Adrian, with the
Rhythm of Life.
Rhythm of Life.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yes. So I just adore Randy, and he just was so kind to me. And I would, you know, and you have more freedom, and it's the spotlight's not on you necessarily, but I would just come out each day with something different. And so one day I was like, oh, you know, we're like hippies. Maybe my person's pregnant. And so I like did a little belly, and then he didn't say anything about it. So the next day it got bigger. It got bigger and bigger, and eventually it was like this giant belly, and I was walking around trying to do this Fosse choreography.
Honestly, one of the proudest moments is that dance.
So much fun. And he never said anything, and I think, you know, I never got any bad notes about it. So, but and he definitely knew what was going on, but I just am thankful that he let me have that creative freedom, because I had so much fun. So definitely taught me how to develop a character, no matter how small your role is, because the ensemble is so much fun. You don't have to stress as much, you know. You get to interact with the people on stage. So many wonderful things. But I always think of that sweet charity moment and the giant pregnant balloon, Randy being so.
Do you remember who you danced with?
I don't. You?
Keith Owen.
Kiki.
Yeah.
Keith and I go way back to Seussical.
I know. Well, that's a question we're going to touch on in a second because I'm going to talk about Seussical. But yeah, I remember that. But so dads, you know how Kelsey Coleman tends to take something and run with it, like the dance at the end of Mamma Mia?
Yeah.
Stephanie.
Fantastic.
That's a perfect like correlation because yeah, if he didn't say anything, it's like okay, maybe I can get away with it. But then there are times where it's like I'm not just getting away with it. You know, he's being supportive because he's not telling you not to do it.
Exactly. I mean, he always said big mistakes, do bigger things, and so I literally did it. You know,
That
they can pull you back. They can always pull you back. You know, so.
Can we tell a quick sweet charity story? Okay. So I had a co-choreographer for that show that was a little intense. And there was a moment when we're getting ready to open the show. I'm pretty sure it was Tech Week, or maybe we're just having like a choreography cleanup. And it was the big like I'm a brass band song when we're all in band uniforms and everyone's in love. And there was confusion over when we do a certain thing. And people are discussing it like we do. It's not like this militant, ballet company where no one's allowed to speak. It's like, no, I think it was here. I think it was here. And she whips her head around and screams at the cast. And she says, who's the choreographer? In this like crazy way. And I was like, whoa, simmer, because it's me. We're just all going to calm down right now. But there was it was like around Valentine's Day and someone had gifted someone one of those bears where you could like press a button and record a message. So we had a bear that Stephanie recorded an impersonation of who's the choreographer in a very scary way. That was
Yeah,
great.
it was definitely myself or either Chesra maybe, but
Yeah.
we would say it back to each other over and over. Who's the choreographer?
Just out of nowhere, man. Like we didn't have to escalate it like that. We weren't,
I have the picture in my head. I'll never forget it.
because we were in the heart-shaped formation. That's what I remember. And I remember just turning around and being like, all right, well, we're just going to move on with a positive attitude.
So we all have something in common with you that I don't think we realized until starting to do some research for the show. And that's that we all have been in Rocky Horror at Theater Company. So could you tell us like what your favorite memory of being in Rocky was?
Okay, so to be honest, when I started that, it was not, we didn't audition for that one. Something new, and I think it was kind of scandalous that the theater company was doing this.
And she was in Rocky 1. This was the first time we did Rocky at the Theater Company.
Yeah, and I remember like eating at Nympha's, and we had all kind of gotten like been talking about it, and I think you or someone told me like I think Randy wants you to play Columbia, and I find myself, I feel like I'm really well versed on like pop culture and things of different decades, but I had never seen Rocky Horror for some reason or other, so I watched it, and I remember just thinking like we're gonna do this, like all right, and so yeah, I'm so thankful that Randy asked me to do that. It is hands down one of my favorite thing I've ever done. It's just the most fun I've ever had on stage ever. The people that he chose are all just like fun and nice, and everyone was there to just do the best show that they could. I always think of you, Monty, and I,
Yes.
and pushing Chris around in the wheelchair on stage, and then Michelle and Deborah, and then Beth doing the costumes. Like it was just, and it's kind of the vibe you get of like doing a show around the holidays. Like the first time we did a show around Christmas, I was like, this is so much fun, It was like that with the Halloween, then we did the midnight show. It was an absolute blast, and yeah, I just don't think anything will ever top it.
Yeah. It's a really special experience.
Sorry.
So when Eddie comes out on the motorcycle, can you do your Eddie voice?
Okay, I don't want to hurt anyone's ears.
And Adrian, can you do my favorite one that you do?
Relax.
That's a bad memory.
Love
That's
it.
not. No.
Speaking of Speaking of motorcycles, can you tell us if and how any motorcycles were used in that show, in your show in Rocky 1?
This is a real motorcycle, wasn't it? Yeah.
Did they start it up?
Do what?
Did it actually start and everything?
I'm pretty sure, didn't it?
It did. And the reason why we ask about this,
every show that you can.
Yes. So we've now done Rocky 4. So we had Rocky 1 and 2. Chris Rogers played Eddie and Dr. Scott. For Rocky 3, Daddy Mike here played the character, and for Rocky 4, it was Dana. Dana, would you like to tell us how it was with the Okay, Rodney, would you like to tell us about the motorcycle in Rocky 4?
Okay, so here's the scene. We're waiting with bated breath for this character who's just been like teased, and he's supposed to have this grand entrance with just this revving of this powerful, muscular motorcycle. And this just intense character coming onto the stage. But what do we get instead? We get a middle-aged guy out of breath going, vroom, vroom. And then he comes on and does his song because he can't get the motorcycle started. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was
Did I tell it
lovely.
okay, Dana?
Yeah,
Is that right?
That's
okay.
pretty close. You did a great job there.
This is great. I love retelling the story because Vroom Vroom is just, it's an iconic moment now. And it happened twice. It was great. I love it so much.
It's commitment.
It is commitment. But no,
I think you're right. There's something about that show that is different. Like the investment in characters in other shows, like you're really kind of pouring yourself into the character development and whatnot. And a show like Rocky, you can put your own self into those characters and kind of spin it a little bit, but it's more like I get to be this, like
Are you saying
kind of
I wasn't
caricature.
devoted to my character, Dana?
Do what?
Are you saying I wasn't devoted to my character?
Well, only if you could remember to tell me to relax. But
what's funny is that one of the other lines that I tended to forget was like the delivery boy. Like that's all I'll say is the delivery boy. And I'm pretty sure one of the pictures that I posted today, Stephanie, from Rocky was like right after I said the delivery boy, and we all just like laughed at. And you saw that Deborah Campbell Green, guys, was the Janet in that version.
Okay.
See, that's what I was looking, and she's always making a crazy face, so I wasn't 100% sure that it was Deborah, but I was like, that's got to be Deborah. So yeah, thanks for verifying that for me.
Yep, and Michelle stage managed it.
So the fans of the show in the show right now watching in YouTube are giving me grief too. So about the Vroom Vroom, Harold Presley saying he was there, and Linda talking about the diva attempted burn. They just knew it was coming. So yeah, thank you, Stephanie, for setting up a diva burn. Thank you.
And David Manuel, yes, that was also from day one. Rocky has always been a 3-week turnaround. For we had so little time. I think for Rocky 1, we had a day to learn huge chunks of choreography, and then we wouldn't see each other for a while. And then it was ready to run Act 1. Yes, Randy, we're totally ready. It's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, also the set that we had to overlap with was Sound of Music, and Sarah Miller did the set. And so whenever we posted the pictures of the show, she referred to it as the Sound of Horror.
So Stephanie, I read in your bio that you have spent time in education as a theater teacher. But that you've moved away from that. You're being a full-time mom now, and that's awesome. But what do you miss most about being a theater teacher?
Oh my gosh, the students. So I found my sweet spot with middle school theater.
Really?
Yeah, I know. High schoolers were fine, but I love middle school because I specifically taught mostly 6th grade. I had a few 7th and 8th graders, but they, so the district that I taught in, middle school is 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And so when I went, it was 5th and 6th. So it's kind of a different dynamic in this, you get their little bitties and then you get the cool 8th graders. So they come in and they're just babies still. They come from 5th grade, from elementary school, and they're wearing bows in their hair and they're just so sweet. And they're crying because they can't get their lockers open on the first day. They're just babies. And but then by the end of the year, they're cool and they don't need you as much, but they still want your approval. And they're just weird and goofy, and I could say, go do this, and they're like, okay, I'll do it, you know? And they're just so much fun. And it was like, I mean, it felt like I had my own stand-up comedy club. Anything I would say or do, they would laugh, you know? And I was like,
I love that. That's what Linda Bendixson talks about being a teacher. Like she gets to be on stage without actually having to be on stage.
Can I just say about Linda really quick? My first memory of her is being in 7th grade and being in health class. And it was, I guess it was around Christmas. Her students were singing Feliz Navidad, and she had them carol to each class. At my desk and just thinking, like, I should have taken Spanish. Teacher. It's so cool.
We're currently filming for a new concert that we're working on with the theater company. And dads, y'all don't know about this, but Linda makes an appearance.
Shut the front door.
Ooh, cool.
Yeah. And I'm not telling you how or why, but it is hysterical and it's going to be great.
I cannot wait.
Sorry, Linda, I just outed you. All right, Mike.
All right. What is your favorite song from one of the shows you've been in?
Gosh, let me think. You know, it's so funny when you are doing a show, you know, you can just recite everything. You can recite other people's lines and stuff, and then you stop doing it and you kind of forget it.
Yeah.
Unless you listen to it. I don't know. I really do love, I actually love Seussical, not all of it, but I love Gertrude's parts. When I was in college, that was my rep. I would have liked to have been a Gertrude, so I like Notice Me Horton. I think it's such a sweet song. I don't know the name of the song, but in White Christmas, when
Dancing.
oh, that's it's How Deep is the Ocean? I guess the reprise of that. I didn't sing that one, but I think that's a beautiful music.
One of my favorite things that you've sung on stage is your bit from a chorus line in the montage when you're talking about your mother and you left St. Louis, Missouri, and about you shaved your sister's head. That's why I shaved her head. That melody I just knew from the show so well, and you did it so perfectly. That's one of my favorite little segments of that montage. It's so good.
I love that show. You know, that's like the first thing that's like the first real part I ever had. Like that was just
Really?
the first part. Yeah, I was so young. I look back and I just laugh at that. Like I remember being next to you and Joey line and just like having so much fun together.
That's right.
I have to say, since you brought that up, the music in a chorus line, because I wrote up the list of shows that I'd been in. I was trying to think, and a chorus line was, I mean, it was so much fun. A really fun cast.
Yeah. It was a great group of people. That was one of the first shows that Frances Bingham stage managed. And that's when like stage managing at the theater company took a step to another level. And she was even leading like acting discussions with us that I remember really distinctly, because we didn't really do that a lot. Randy was really hands off of like, do your thing and I will talk to you if you suck. Like,
yeah, you're so right. Yeah, no, because I remember getting a note and it like wasn't towards me, but I think it was towards me. And like her giving it, you know what I mean? And looking back and thinking, yeah, stage managers don't do that. But at the theater company, and that's what we had dues too as well. You had to pay to be in the theater.
oh yeah. Yeah. But we did have because it was me, you, and Joey right on the tail end of that line, right? Yeah, we had a good time. We had a good time.
It's very fun. I remember some muggy rehearsals, and some of the guys would get really sweaty.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
We're just moving those hats up and down, up and down.
That's unpleasant. Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
It was fun though.
So one of the fun
And I don't
things.
know if it was in that show, but I have to say with Randy, when I was there, was so strict on no gum.
Oh, always.
And I don't remember what show I was in. It was that or Seussical, and you know, I was like a little teenager, bebop on stage, and I like had some gum in my mouth, and I remember him standing at the exit sign right by the entrance to the theater, and he chewed me out for having gum. And I was like, never again. And so from that day forward, when I was a teacher, I was like, do you have gum in your mouth? Yeah. You can't act. This is your tool. You taught
I
me
love
well.
Scared me.
Mike, you're fragile.
You know.
Mike would have cried. So in all those shows, I recall like Mamma Mia, it had the absolute coolest costume that I've worn, and then the absolute worst costume I've ever worn, all in the same show. So
Wait, which one was the worst, Mike? I mean, Dana. Sorry.
what? No, I'm here all the time. Oh, the disco thing at the end. Oh, that was terrible. That shiny, shimmery thing.
Apologize to Shannon right now.
Well, no,
Yep.
it looks great, just not on me. Like
Oh,
it was.
you-
No,
fantastic,
that's a
but-
fair point.
Yeah, thank you. Like I'll take that.
Mine looked phenomenal.
No, not
On
really.
me.
Not really.
And off me, ladies. But yeah, Dana,
That
we
was
could have
terrible.
found somebody better.
So talking about costumes and shows, what would be like your absolute worst? Like, I can't believe I wore this. This was terrible. Nothing against the costumers, right? But just for you. And then what was like, oh my god, I love this costume. What were the worst and the best costumes you wore at TTC?
This is a planted question by me to talk about Seussical.
Oh yeah, no leading the witness.
The witness.
Come
Yeah.
on.
First of all,
Same.
I was raised right, and I know that you don't ever say anything about your costumers.
Keep it burn.
So, don't eat in costume either. Don't let them see you eat in costume. But I I mean, I was fortunate enough. I think I remember some costumes that were funny, like in Singing in the Rain. We had to have like some bloomers for underneath these dresses for Joe Shepard's song. I don't remember what it was called, but
Oh, beautiful girls. Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The dresses. And so I don't know if it was it Linda who did our costumes in the show? I don't know. They were beautiful, but they needed some like bloomers for us to match. And so they got these giant granny panties for us to all wear.
Wow.
Yep.
They dyed them pastel pink and blue.
Yep.
And yeah, we had a good time with those backstage.
Wait, there was photo shoots. This was in the Red Theater before we had the built-up dressing rooms. You know how? Actually, y'all have never seen this. So in the yellow, before we had the built-up racks for all the costumes, it was just on that slant, just like the old movie theater. And there were just random blocks of wood screwed into the ground to keep things from sliding. And so our dressing rooms were racks of clothing that were just basically like set up as corners. And like on one half was the guys and one half was the girls. Because we were that way for Singing in the Rain, for West Side Story, and anyone up in the, where now is a little boy's dressing room could just look right on down. But yeah, we took photo shoots in those granny panties, everyone in pink and blue. So in my head, I was thinking about Seussical.
My poodle.
No, the cast photo with you and Kiki.
Oh my gosh, I blocked this out of my memory. I'm like this in it. The lion. I have completely forgotten about that. Oh my gosh. Gold pants. Really comfy.
Sounds
But you
like
were-
we need to go digging for some pictures.
We're gonna
Oh.
have to.
It's literally the cast photo for Seussical, but you, because you were 16, like you want to be cute,
Yeah.
and you were in like a bright sweatsuit with this thing that just like covered your.
Gosh, I don't remember what scene that was from. I really don't like that show, like a lot of the core stuff. It's so obnoxious, but I do love like the main character parts. And that was fun, But I remember just like it was a really cool fish costume we had to wear in our head, and just it was pretty. It was kind of humiliating, but I completely forgot about that. It was gold shiny pants. I was 16, so I was like rocking my Converse. I don't know how I got that approved, but I was wearing like my old ratty Converse and a gold button-up sweater and this giant like toddler Halloween costume lion mane. I think it had like my edgy bangs poked out of them a little bit.
You and Keith, how close are you and Keith in age?
He's quite a bit behind me.
Okay.
Really young. He was like little. He was like a baby, I feel like.
I know he was younger, but because he has the same memory from that show because he was the frog, and he has a distinct memory of me like calling him out because one of his eyes had like gone wonky. But he remembers the two of you being next to each other in the cast photo, being like, I cannot believe that I'm being photographed in this thing.
It was fun. We had fun together. We were little poodles and like jumped through a hula hoop.
Yep. And
My
McGurkins.
All right, Stephanie, tell us about you've mentioned Randy a few times. Tell us your favorite memory of working with Randy.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm gonna try not to cry. I mean, I just have so many good things to say about Randy. He had so much tough love on me growing up. Like I said, I remember a couple of times of him calling me out when I was younger, and he's just such a wonderful, amazing person who really was such an influence on my life. So supportive. My favorite memory of Randy probably was during Follies, I think, and we were like in that little back walkway in the theater, you know, like where the audience sits, and there's like a little walkway to get to their side. And we were back there, and I think that Mark and I had an entrance as the little old couple coming in, and I was waiting, and that's where I came from, was from the back of the theater. And Randy was there, and I don't know what we were talking about, but Randy and I didn't like schmooze, you know, like everything I talked to Randy about was really just like about theater and stuff, and it wasn't super personal. And I didn't like go to him a lot with like questions or anything that wasn't like addressed at notes. And he looked at me and was just like so kind and told me that when he watched me on stage that I just shined, and there was just something that he just couldn't take his eyes off of me. And that's just something that's just always kept me going, you know. As an actor, there are times when you don't feel, you know, super confident, and that meant so much to me because he was just a huge influence on my life. And not to be super dark, but one of my like biggest regrets is that I didn't get to come back and do one more show with him, just because I adored him. And I am like a big letter writing person, and I always was like, I need to write Randy a letter once I had gone back to college and finished. I was like, I need to tell him, you know, just how much he means to me. And I never did. And I know that he knows that, but that's just something I just wish I could have done, because he was just such an amazing person and huge influence on my life.
So I have a follow-up kind of ish. So how many years has it been since you've been in any sort of show?
Let me think. 2014 maybe. It's been a while.
So 6 years ish.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it, but it has. Because when I started teaching, I thought that I would be able to act, but once I started teaching, my first year I taught high school theater, and the school that I was at was really big into UIL theater, and we ended up going to state that year. And it was just an amazing school, and my coworker is extremely talented, and that was all him. But so every weekend it was just completely booked, so I didn't get the chance to do it. And then when I moved to teach middle school. I lived not as close to Houston, like directly into. I lived north of town, and so it was just too hard. No, I lie. It was 2015 I performed, actually, at Mildred's Umbrella Theater. I performed. Yeah, so 2015, 5 years, but it's been a while.
Mm-hmm. So has like us reaching out to you to be a part of the show and things, has it kind of stirred a little of that in you?
Oh yeah. I mean, theater is my passion. I've always wanted to have a family and have kids, but I'm kind of an all-in person, and especially just like where I am right now, I don't, you know, if I was living in College Station, it would probably be different, and I would definitely be doing shows because it's comfortable when I know it, but out here it's just different. And so I also know that like having kids is such a short time in my life that, you know, it would be gone. But the only thing I have to say is I feel like by the time I do start really acting again, all the parts that I want to play, dang, I'm aging out of things, you know?
Don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
Yeah, but you also begin to age into other like phenomenal parts.
You know, yeah, but there is a debate that there's not many wonderful female parts for women of a certain age.
It's true.
As there are to men. So
I beg to differ though, Stephanie, because they had to really age me to play one of the dads in Mamma Mia. So I mean, they had to age me a lot to kind of match up with these guys here.
I'm still wondering in the chat, we're still trying to vote to see if we need to replace Mike with really anybody on this show, because I'm kind of done.
What you said, it's funny because it's true.
So and actually one of the shows we've been working on, Tuck Everlasting, which has been put on the proverbial back burner because of COVID. When I heard that I would be doing a scene with a young lady, Alana O'Connell, and that they were going to age her, not me, they were going to age her. I did not. That made me very yeah. So I understand what you're saying. Like there's this more. Yeah, I gotcha. I just wondered because you're certainly a great personality, and we've loved having you on the show, and hearing all these stories and seeing all the chatter in the YouTube chat, like you gotta miss it, and
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I'm not trying to bring up like sad stuff.
No,
just
thank
like-
you. No.
Just going back to Dana's point, you do realize that Alana's like half your age, right?
I know. But
I mean, to not make it creepy, they would have to age her up.
well aware, Rodney. Well aware.
Okay, just wanted to make sure you're grounded, buddy.
I do want to say about theater though, it is like this. There is nothing like being on stage, and feeling those lights, and it's just kind of like a bummer because it's like a drug, like the feeling that I get from being on stage. And my favorite thing is I love to make people laugh. I love being on stage and just making people happy. And like, I think we all can agree that, watching a show, the feeling you get when you watch something, it just helps you escape your life, just for a little bit. I just love being able to be a part of that for somebody. So I miss that part of it. I really do. So hopefully soon one day. Thank you for asking. It makes me feel not forgotten because I feel I have major FOMO. Anytime I see anything from the theater, I'm like, show one day with Adrian. So yeah, there's just nothing like it. I mean, I'm so thankful and I'm blessed and that I'm able to stay at home right now, and it's amazing. But at some point, I definitely want to get back because it's, yeah, it really.
I hear you about just the gratification of being able to like be on stage and make people happy. I got to dance today on stage, literally 45 seconds, over and done. But I mean, just having Ryder there smiling at me, being like, "Oh my God, look at what you're doing!" I was like, "Oh, I miss it so much."
I know, and seeing that part of you, yeah, it's because. I know I was talking to Emma recently about something and I was like, oh, mommy like, does this or has done this. And I was like, how do I say this without being like, mommy dearest, like, Lucille, like
Mommy
the rest
was
of
an
my
actress.
Yes, mommy. No, but just because I joke, I started her in ballet classes and I'm just like, get you prepared. I want to get you in everything you can just because dancing opens doors, theater opens doors. I mean, don't even get me started on all the things theater can do to benefit people, but I love being able to like share that with her, and yeah,
That's so special.
Cool.
By the
hey, how old
way,
is Ryder, Adrian? I'm sorry.
He's like 2 and almost 3 actually. In November he'll be 3.
And he is in love with a plant from Little Shop.
We got to hang out with him again today. Brandon has the plant tattooed on his arm, and so watching Ryder process like, wait, that's the plant. That's my plant. That's my friend. Wait, I don't understand. And he knows the difference between all of them too. Like the second plant that's like a little bit bigger, that one's been not missing. It's been in the pit. But he was like, where's the next one? Like, where's that plant? And he found it today and he was like, well, there it is.
Oh,
He wanted to climb into the final big plant face. Like I was blown away.
When he came to see the show, he saw Little Shop like twice and was just enthralled. And he was there the day that we took the cast shots, and so there are pictures of him like in the plant. Like it was his favorite thing.
Not afraid,
so sweet.
like wanting to be in the plant, wanting to crawl in.
Smart
Amazing.
kid. He wanted to go somewhere that's green.
hey, by the way, Stephanie Harold Presley says you don't have to worry about aging out of roles. You're still as young and beautiful as the first time you met. So
Oh my gosh, stop,
Harold.
Harold.
He's amazing.
You're so nice, thank you.
So was Harold, by the way.
I know.
Same as when I met him. All right, Mike.
I will say that we all kind of had our moment. I will say, because I never get super emotional, and I'm always a jokester. But I was in a show with Dana and Rodney twice, and when you're in a show, you're kind of focusing on your own stuff. And I will say that I was super proud of Dana and Rodney because I wasn't in Little Shop of Horrors, and I actually got to come see them, and they were just rock stars, and they shine. So.
Holy crap.
Anyway, just had to have my moment. We weren't recording that part, right? Anyway.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay,
yeah,
Stephanie.
and I think it really had to do with the card that you gave me before the show, which was
Don't suck. I cannot. This guy gave us a little whatever those little bottles of
Topo.
vodka, Topo, yeah, and
Vodka.
and a card, and it was, you open it up, you're like, what is this nice? Don't suck. I'm like, oh my God, really, Mike? Like, we didn't know who it was from, but we knew as soon as we opened it, it was from Mike. So we didn't suck. Well, I didn't. You forgot lines, but I didn't suck. So
I was, even if I forget lines, I'm still awesome.
Crazy.
I would
All right.
love to be in a show with you, Stephanie. So if you could figure out how to get here and do a show.
Yeah, come on.
Because we've had several guests, as we talked about earlier, talk about how wonderful you are on stage. So
Thank you. I would love to.
absolutely.
I want to husband too. I tell him like, if Adrian, if we ever get him on stage, we'll never get him off.
Yeah. My mom texted me to remind me. So Ryder, at some point when he was with me during lockdown, I was going to the theater for something, and he gets excited when he goes there because when he first started going there, it was
Some
mostly
behind-the-scenes
for
stuff.
the kids' workshops. And he
I
would be there for
constantly check the
rehearsals.
time
So it's
'cause
just
we
him
don't
in the
wanna go
audience
over
watching the shows. So the first time he was there with the
1:30.
rest of an audience, he was like, who the hell are all of you? Like, this
In this case, we
For
only have
me,
two more questions.
my personal
and
show.
ready and out.
Yeah, so
We
a
are
couple
now
months
at
ago
15
when I
minutes,
was running
so
by
I
the
was
theater and he
stretching
came
that
with
out
me,
a little bit.
he wants to go in the actual physical theater. And so I opened the door and he walks in, he goes,
Behind the
where's
scenes.
all the people?
Oh.
And it
Seems
was
to
like
flow so
a
naturally. Yeah, I'm
gut
just trying to
punch.
make the
Because
show.
he knows that there's supposed to be people up there singing and dancing and there's supposed to be people here like laughing and clapping. It's so sad.
Mhm.
Mike, I know you've got a question in there somewhere, yeah? You're getting
Okay. All right, Stephanie. So I know it's kind of hard to probably pinpoint one, and of course we've already heard a lot of them. But do you have a moment that you're proudest of from your time at TTC?
Proudest of, well, something I am proud of was actually in White Christmas. There was the song I Love Piano. The lovely Catherine Pope choreographed the show, and I think she was still in high school. She was pretty young. And she's an amazing dancer and choreographer, and there was this scene, it was a tap dance that I got to do, and I got to have a little tap solo, which is my favorite. I also got to do that in Rocky with you, Adrian, and just I loved it. And I got to get up on the piano, the stand-up piano, and like tap dance on it. And it was so much fun, and just kind of one of those moments you're like, oh my gosh, this is just too good to be true. So that was really fun. But I think I was also really proud when I did Aida when I was like 16 or 17 too, because that was a big deal because I'd only been in a few shows at the theater company before, and I got this big part. And looking back now, maybe not then I wasn't as proud, but looking back now, I'm like, I'm pretty proud of myself for what I did back then.
Yeah, well, and that was hard. Like, and I mean, looking back, there was like drama around that casting, and that wasn't easy for you. That was not easy for you, and that was a hard part. And you were like, you know what? This is mine.
Yeah. Yeah, it was so much fun, and yeah, I completely agree. It's one of those moments that like taught me about life lessons, just about how people are and how to treat others. And it also made me like when I was older, around that age, and kind of just thinking about how I want to treat people who are younger than me. And like people look up to you, because when I first came to the theater, like I said, I looked around, I looked at everyone who's older than me. I wasn't thinking who has the most experience, who's got the most background in theater. It's just, like how people treat you and how they make you feel. And so that's something I always tried to keep in mind later on when I was like an older person at the theater, was just with younger people, because they look up to you more than you realize they do, you know? So that was a big learning experience for me in theater and in life too.
So there's a person, a friend of the show that is on often, and she is one of those type of people that you can really look up to. I've never been in a show with her, but she's amazing. Miss All Over the Place, Katie Mitchell. And she popped in to make sure that she said hello to you with a little heart. So,
Hi, Katie. Oh, I love her.
We have one final question before we kind of head into it. But before I ask the question, do you remember the name of our band with Jessica DeJong?
The Yayas?
Yeah.
Yeah.
French fries.
Fries.
We
I
never
don't even know how that started.
I was trying to think about that the other day. I have no idea. I just know it was the three of us. We never had a performance, but we were icons.
It was during Cats. We probably tried some McDonald's next door in those gift cards.
Yep, that must have been. Maybe we were not supposed to have French fries and we were wearing lycra. But so less of a question, more of a request from Michelle Campbell Green. Can you please do your Baxter impersonation?
You know, I don't remember doing this, but I know what Baxter looked like, and he was the squishiest little white fluffy dog, and he had these eyes. He was like Buster from Arrested Development as a dog, you know.
Yes.
He was like, shaking. And he just always had like a little curl shaking on his head.
Perfect. That'll make her really happy. That'll make her really, really happy.
One more thing I wanted to add really quick. You asked about earlier about like favorite moments.
Yeah.
So favorite moment was during Cats. I just remembered this. Was Randy. What is the name of that song? The theater cat?
That's the theater cat.
That's the theater cat. We all got to, as the kittens, got to like take a nap on stage and listen to him and Cammy Pyatt.
Cammy Pyatt.
Beautiful voice of an angel, and watch him. That was really the first. I think that's the only show I ever got to see him perform in, and just to get to be on stage and watch that was just, it was heaven. It was awesome.
Hearing you guys and talk about this old stuff, it really frustrates the mess out of me that I had met Randy, and those that have followed the show know I've had several conversations with him about joining theater when I worked at NRG right next door to the theater company, and I kick myself every time I hear one of these stories about him that I didn't get an opportunity because I was stupid and insecure and whatever. So
I know that's how the theater company is. Even whatever time you go, you hear stories and you're like, man, I should have gotten here sooner.
I know, it sucks.
Gotten here sooner. Yeah.
Especially someone like Rodney that's known people involved with the theater for 20 years.
Stephanie, do you know who this guy's best friend was in college? Blake Petty.
Blake Petty, yes.
Really?
Chrissy Petty. Yeah.
Wow.
Blake Petty was his roommate.
And
Funny.
guess who never came to see a single show that Blake was in?
Mm-hmm. That is a look of disgust, and that is amazing.
That's so funny. Small world.
I know. That blew my mind, Rodney, when I first met. Oh, side note, and I actually had this in my notes tonight. This is going to segue us into Mike is going to lead Dear Daddy tonight. But Rodney, happy anniversary.
Oh,
What?
thank you.
Today's your anniversary?
Yep, 21 years.
Wow. I have more years than that. Cumulative.
Don't make this about you. What are you doing for Mandy for your anniversary?
This year's going to be really special. We're going to get our two children caught up on all of their online learning over the weekend because they are so far behind.
How nice.
Yeah. That's what happens when you get to past 2 decades.
Tell Mandy we love her and
Yeah.
we appreciate her sharing you with us.
And putting up with you for so long.
So long.
So Stephanie, this next segment is we have questions that we collect for these fatherly figures from our theater community. But Mike had one, since he is like the younger of the three. Mike had a very specific question for the other two dads. Is that right, Mike?
I do, yes. So my contract for the show states that I can only do so many in a row before I have to take a break. So I was forced by contract to take a break for 2 weeks straight. and they got into a conversation on one of the shows, and so I just wanted to ask a question. Because,
Oh, you listened. Wow.
Oh, I did. I caught up.
That's shocking.
So I'll minus myself from this one. But dear Daddy, at what age should I get a colonoscopy?
No, for the love. Yeah,
Are
I
you
think
for
it's
real?
technically 43. I don't know. Before I got one, which I haven't yet.
Before you're 50. So
I had
yes,
mine
you're
at
due for
34.
one, Mike.
But I had ulcers. That's why I had to get one.
Like, why did you have a colonoscopy?
Because I literally had ulcers from stress.
What? It's the theater.
This was while I was doing theater. This is when it was like the first year of me taking over as director, but I still had like a full-time career as like the vice president of a company. It was tough year for me. Tough year.
Imagine. Can only imagine.
Yeah. Mike, do you feel like you got the information that you were looking for today?
Before
I
50.
did, and the great
Yes.
news is I've got, based on those answers, I've got a few more years before that happens.
You have a few more months. Go ahead and schedule it.
Oh my gosh. Dads, do you have any other questions for Stephanie?
I don't think so. I kind of threw in my extras throughout the
Yeah.
show. Stephanie, you've been absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for joining our show tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys.
You're sticking around for
Of course.
Dads After Dark?
Absolutely. And I just want to say really quick about Adrian. Watching you from afar with everything in the transition and becoming the director of the theater, I'm so proud of you. And you've taken it and you've run with it. And I just think it all the time, but I don't know that I've necessarily told you that. I'm so proud of you. Randy would be proud of you. Everyone's proud of you. You're amazing. And you just have exceeded anyone's expectations of what the theater could be. I'm really proud of you.
Thank you so much. I love you. I'm so glad you're doing this. It's so good to see your face. It really
Thank you for
is.
having me. I've had a blast.
All right. Well, I don't remember who's supposed to wrap it up, but let's do that before I cry.
I want Mike to do it just because it's so wonderful.
Is it?
Ish.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess it is my turn. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Stephanie, thank you so much for being on the show tonight. We encourage all of our listeners, if you have a computer at home.
Clearing your throat. You're killing me.
I'm so sorry. I've got
God, you suck.
I've got allergies, but we do encourage you to visit our website. We do have one. You go on the line at lowercase www.TTCDivaDads.
You're fired.
And this is lowercase com. You can connect with us through any social media you want, but if you do, please make sure you put a number sign TTC DivaDads.
Mike, shut up. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you all.
Fired.
Keep with us for
Hashtag
Dads
fired.
After Dark. We'll see y'all in a bit. Thank y'all.
You know that